In 2020, while the world was fighting over toilet paper, a quiet real estate boom happened underground. Silicon Valley executives weren't buying penthouse suites, they were buying decommissioned missile silos. The gap between a standard storm shelter and a billionaire's doomsday fortress is wider than most people realize. One guy spends $10,000 to survive a tornado. Another spends $100 million so he never has to see the surface again. Same apocalypse, completely different realities. Because the elite don't prep for disasters the way normal people do. Today, I'm breaking down the 7 levels of doomsday bunkers, from the entry point almost anyone can access, to the sovereign fortresses that operate like private nations. Let's get into it. Level 1. The entry point. The backyard panic room. This is where most people first experience survival architecture, and it's designed to make you feel safe when you haven't actually gone off the grid yet. Starts around $50,000. A corrugated steel cylinder buried 10 feet deep beneath the lawn. A 30-day NBC, nuclear, biological, chemical, air filtration system. On paper, it's survival territory. But in reality, this is the bottom of the ladder. Who buys it? The suburban prepper who wants the peace of mind. They walk down the hatch for the first time and think, this is it. I'm safe. Then they realize the air filter needs a manual crank if the grid goes down, the water reserves are finite, and they only have a month of freeze-dried food. The convenience is an illusion. You are safe from the blast, but you are effectively trapping yourself in a submarine with a countdown timer. To get real longevity, you have to move up the ladder. Level 2. The community silo, survival condos. This is where survival stops being a DIY project and becomes commercialized. Starts around $1.5 million to $3 million per unit. Companies buy old government Atlas missile silos, invert them, and turn them into 15-story underground skyscrapers. You aren't buying the silo. You are buying a floor. Biometric access controls, shared hydroponic gardens, an internal medical bay, and a heavily armed private security detail at the surface door. This is the level where someone does the math. They realize they can't afford a private military, so they buy into a community. But here is the catch most buyers only learn after signing the NDA. You are surviving, but you are stuck in a subterranean HOA. You are perfectly insulated from the chaos outside, but you are locked in a concrete tube with 70 strangers. And that loss of control is exactly what pushes real wealth deeper into the market. Level 3, the stealth compound. This is where the ultra-wealthy stop sharing space and start utilizing OSINT, open source intelligence evasion. Starts around $5 million to $10 million. From the surface, it looks like a boring functional horse farm in Wyoming or a standard cabin in the Rockies. But beneath the barn is a 5,000 square foot reinforced concrete complex. These properties are purchased through layers of anonymous shell LLCs to scrub public property records. The strategy here is obscurity over armor. If nobody knows the bunker exists, nobody tries to breach it. Who owns this? The mid-market CEO or tech founder who understands that a massive steel door invites curiosity, but a rusty tractor does not. They aren't preparing for a bomb, they are preparing for civil unrest, and they know the best defense is simply not being found. Level 4. The digital fortress. This is where the bunker stops feeling like a workaround and starts operating as serious infrastructure. Starts around $15 million to $30 million. We are talking fully air-gapped internal networks. The entire complex is wrapped in a copper Faraday cage to protect against EMPs, electromagnetic pulses. The bunker has its own independent server racks hosting a localized offline version of the internet. Downloaded medical databases, Wikipedia, entertainment libraries, and tactical mapping. The bunker is no longer competing with a basement. It is competing with a luxury smart home and winning. Closed-loop SCADA systems silently manage the geothermal, climate control, and water purification without ever connecting to the outside grid. The venture capitalists who build these aren't just trying to survive. They are maintaining their exact digital lifestyle while the rest of the world goes dark. Level 5. Subterranean estate. At this level, the architecture defies logic. Starts around $50 million, 15,000 square feet. Bowling alleys, lap pools, and fully equipped surgical theaters. The most jarring detail? Simulated sunlight. Massive LED screens act as windows, broadcasting live, high-definition feeds of a Parisian sunrise or a Bahamian beach, syncing exactly with your circadian rhythm, so you never experience cave syndrome. Who lives here? The hedge fund manager who looks at a multi-million-dollar annual maintenance budget just to keep the atmospheric scrubbers and autonomous drone surveillance running, and signs the check without blinking. You don't buy this to survive a year. You buy this to live a decade without realizing the world ended. The isolation is no longer a punishment. It is an amenity. Level 6. The floating safe house. Because the absolute pinnacle of bunker architecture isn't underground at all. It's an ice-class expedition superyacht. Starting at $200 million, range of 8,000 nautical miles without refueling. Onboard desalination plants producing infinite fresh water. Submarine bays for undetectable exits. Anti-piracy LRAD acoustic weapons that can liquefy a threat's eardrums from a mile away. The billionaire at this level knows a glaring truth. A static target is a vulnerable target. If you are bolted to the ground eventually, someone can dig you out. If things get bad, you don't hide in a hole. You stay in international waters. The ocean is the ultimate moat. When one of these leaves port, it is not a vacation. It is a highly mobile, tactically superior relocation asset. Level 7. The Sovereign Kingdom. This isn't a bunker. This is a private nation-state. Look at Mark Zuckerberg's $270 million Kulau Ranch in Hawaii. Hundreds of acres. Massive underground complexes with blast doors. Its own independent agricultural infrastructure. Its own water reservoirs. At this level, you aren't hiding from the collapse. You are funding the rebuild. They employ private security forces that operate like a paramilitary unit. When a billionaire builds this, they aren't preparing for a temporary event. They are ensuring their dynasty survives a total societal reset. The real estate itself is almost incidental. What you are building is confirmation that when the dust settles, you hold the keys to whatever comes next. Every other billionaire wants to build this model, but only a fraction have the liquidity and geopolitical influence to actually achieve it. What the Doomsday industry really sells survival prep started as a way for regular people to outlast a storm. It became an industry for people who can afford to outlast society. And somewhere between the $50,000 tin can in the backyard and the $500 million private island, the product stopped being the concrete. The guy in the backyard shelter and the guy on the Hawaiian compound are both doing the same thing. They are buying control. One is buying 30 days. The other is buying forever. Every other real estate market sells you a location. The Doomsday market sells you the only resource you can't manufacture: continuity. The bunker was never the point. Who rules the ashes is. If this was useful, subscribe. See you in the next one.